the wing of an aeroplane and actually going straight into it, which doesn't necessarily bring the aeroplane down unless, of course, it happens to go into a fuel tank. So, you know, drones and aeroplanes with people on board, because drones are just aeroplanes with nobody on board, when those two things meet, you are running severe risks.
OK. Sean, good to talk to you as always. Thank you for that. Sean Moffat there.
8:25.
We live in a multiverse of differing branches of histories. And in a different branch of history, I was never here, some of you voted differently, and this never happened. But I was. And it did. Everyone knows who won. But not everyone knows how.
Benedict Cumberbatch there in his role as the Leave campaigner Dominic Cummings in the TV drama Brexit, the Uncivil War, which went out on Channel 4 last night. So how is each side portrayed in this deeply divisive drama, which is still being played out in the corridors of power at Westminster? The author and commentator Alastair Campbell is a firm Remainer and Felicity Huston is a Conservative Brexiteer. Good morning to you both. Alastair, Dominic Cummings, as in Cumberbatch, was the hero or anti-hero, certainly the central figure in the drama. The Remainers in a very subordinate role. Did that unbalance it in your view?
Well, I mean, I think you have to, you know, I've been in several dramatised, semi-fictionalised portrayals of some of the times that I had with the Labour government, and you know, you have to understand that the guy who wrote it, and these are artists, and they're not documentary makers, and they're not writing kind of historical books, but I think they try to get a story, and the best way to get stories, we all know this, you're in the business of storytelling, is through people. And I suspect that what happened is they found that Dominic Cummings was one of the more interesting, more colourful characters. But I think, you know, there's lots of things I can point to where I know that didn't happen. For example, if you watch the film, you assume that Dominic Cummings has given evidence to a parliamentary committee. Well, in fact, it's quite an interesting side story to this, that he's actually refused to do so. I thought the criminality and the corruption side of the story got sort of pushed to one side, but you can't do everything. You can't tell a story as big and complicated as the Brexit referendum without focusing on a small number of personalities, I guess. Yeah.
Felicity, some of the critics say it was superficial, that the castings were awful, that the politicians were all portrayed as, boozy comedy characters.
Yeah, well, I thought it was great crack, to be honest. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought Dominic Cummings, who I knew remarkably little about, obviously not being part of the Westminster world, just looking at it from the outside, I thought he came across as the most fascinating character. And Cumberbatch, it was a real tour de force for him, wasn't it? I mean, he created this individual who just swept us up and in his sort of worldview and his idea of sort of revolution in its own way. So I thought it was a good laugh. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes, of course, they were full of caricatures. I have to say, politicians and spin doctors, Alastair, are always presented as caricatures on the TV. It's just what we expect. We don't really know what they're like.
One of the Guardian's reviewers, Alastair, said it was so full of posh white blokes. What does that say about our politics?
Well, it was, and I mean, I do think the other thing that came across, I'm glad Felicity thinks it was a good laugh that got us into the mess that we're in now, but I do think that one of the problems with the whole thing is that for a lot of the people involved, Dominic Cummings, Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, to some extent David Cameron, it has to be said, it's like they've been playing these games with each other for years and years and years about who really has power inside the Conservative Party. But I think, I think you have to be careful, I mean, not to watch these things as though they are history, as though they are factually based, because a lot of the stuff is, it says there's a rider right at the start of the programme where it said, this is based on a true story, but some elements have been fictionalised, and I think you just have to take that as part of the package you're getting as a piece of drama.
On the good laugh bit, Felicity, another commentator, another reviewer said it was woefully complacent. I mean, is it adequate to play for laughs something which is, tearing the country apart today.
Well, it wasn't presented as Tolstoy, was it? You know, I mean, whatever we think about it all, you know, the idea was that it was supposed to be a drama, which obviously, given the way some of them were portrayed, was not supposed to be deathly serious. I mean, it couldn't be. And I don't think, I mean, the population sees this day after day on the news, etc., etc.
A lot of people said they turned off, it was too depressing.
Well, fair enough. Look, it reminded me a bit of the Facebook micro-messaging. You know, everybody took out of it what they wished to view and understand about the world. And it is interesting. Remainers are all terribly unhappy that X, Y and Z wasn't covered, and the Leavers are all very unhappy that A, B, C wasn't covered. And I think it was, in some ways, maybe that was its achievement, that it managed to cheese off everybody, you know,
you can't
or
please
attract
all the
everybody.
people all of the time.
Well, exactly.
Felicity and Alastair, thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.